Good afternoon, and welcome everyone to another Flipping the Script. Today, I am joined by one of our MES engineers, Jenna Vossoughi. Um, so, I'll get Jenna to introduce herself in a second. Just for a little bit of background, I'm Paul Sullivan. I'm the CEO here at Skellig, and I'm really enjoying getting the chance to talk to some of our engineers um, during this Flipping the Script series. So, Jenna, welcome. Can you give us a little bit about your background and we'll get into it.
Sounds good, Paul. Yep. So I'm Jenna Vossoughi, and I have been with Skellig for just about 7 months now. I have a degree in chemical engineering as a bachelor's, and then a degree in engineering management as my master's. And my previous experiences have been predominantly working as like an automation engineer a little bit. And then my last role, I was mainly doing MES work. And here at Skellig, I am also doing MES work. So, yep, and happy to be here.
It's not on my list of questions, but do you have a favorite MES or automation?
I feel like I'm a bit biased because I have more experience with MES. So, of course, I'm going to favor the platform or the technology that I feel more comfortable with and feel like I'm better at. So, yeah, I like MES. I had a role doing that in my last position, and clearly I liked it enough that I'm doing it now too. So,
same as everyone else, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and then you can ask me a question at the end. So we'll get into it. First question: what kind of impact do you want to make on the world with your career in life sciences?
The main point of biopharmaceuticals, the life science industry, is making medicine for patients. Affordability and accessibility of said medications is, an important motivating factor for why I chose to enter this industry. But you have had some great discussions in some of the previous Flip the Script interviews kind of about that topic. I thought I would maybe take this time to chat about another aspect of life sciences where I think there could be some improvement, and hopefully I could be part of that improvement. And that is the sustainability and the environmental impact. The life science is interesting. Yes. Yep. So as someone who is, and always pretty much has been since a kid, like very passionate about the planet, and aware of my environmental footprint, I would love for my impact in the life sciences to be helping the industry be more friendly to the planet. And I guess just kind of like succinctly put, my goal is to help bring life-saving drugs and medical devices to market in a way that is not only efficient, but also environmentally responsible. Yeah. That's my prepared statement.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Whether it's MES work or automation work, do you think there are some like obvious wins to you that like we're not doing that could contribute to improving things? Like when you start talking like that, just for me, I think about single use versus clean in place and some of that kind of approach. But is there anything that kind of comes up for you? Or
it's great actually that you brought up the single use, because I was going to touch upon that obviously, when the word sustainability is brought up, I think people's knee-jerk reaction, mine as well, was, oh, okay, like single use, that seems like a very obvious, very wasteful, part of the industry that could probably be improved. So, I did a little bit of research according to one of my sources, which I can, provide for viewers after the video if they are so inclined. But that single-use systems actually have a lower environmental impact. There is a pretty high impact of like high purity water, which is needed for the clean and sterilize in place. That's an interesting aspect that I hadn't considered. I guess I don't have the magic solution for all of this, but I did think that was at least just kind of bringing that into the conversation. That was something that I didn't realize. These single-use items, they, typically after they're used, the options are landfill, incineration, waste to energy incineration, or recycling. There's also an added layer that comes with it too, because components that are in contact with biological materials are then classified as biohazardous. So then there's, even more stringent channels that you would need to dispose of it safely. There's a lot of factors in play.
Yeah. Do you think there's enough
And
clarity and research into the topic actually, or do you think
um,
there's enough general focus?
I won't say I did a super, super deep dive. I've kind of just wanted to get a sense of where the industry is at right now environmentally. And a lot of the studies that I was seeing, they came out, as recently as like 2019. I didn't find a ton of other like publications like in the last, 5 years or so. I guess, oh my God, 2019 was
Yeah, I
5 years
know.
ago.
Yep, it's
Ugh,
crazy.
okay.
Mhm.
It's I hate that. I do think that the door is open for more research, and especially like sustainability is such a hot topic conversation
Mhm.
these days anyway. It's trendy to, care for the earth, which
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. Like I love that. I think whatever gets people, more interested in the planet and sustainability is like a win in my book. So
Do you feel like the industry gives you permission to affect change? And that's the next question,
yeah.
or to affect change
So
in general.
yeah, yes and no, or like
Hmm.
maybe more accurately, yes and not quite yet. There's always room for improvement. Right now, a lot of processes are just pretty set. We live in a capitalist society, so companies, are going to go for the options that are cost effective as well as efficient. I kind of did want to tie a little bit in, my MES background. Do I feel like I can personally do anything? I've been part of projects where we moved from paper batch records to digital batch records. So obviously that is better for the environment, killing less trees. Batch records are an important part of MES. So that was that was just one, I guess,
Oh yeah.
small-ish thing that, I feel like I contributed. Just in general, MES can help optimize energy use, reduce waste, hopefully support, sustainable packaging.
Do you feel like the industry in general, or how we're setting things up, that like effectively there's an appetite for engineers such as yourself coming up with like ideas, big or small, that can move
Mm-hmm.
things in the right direction, and those are being heard and received and incorporated? Do you feel like
Yeah.
that's happening? Okay.
Yeah. Well, so I guess that kind of speaks more to the other part. I said yes and no.
Hmm.
What I did want to also touch upon in conjunction with this question, an important factor to consider when you're discussing the ability to affect change in this industry, a lot of it does come down to like the company that you work at. And, I just kind of wanted to just say a little bit that if ever there was a place that I believe that I would have the best shot at improving the world, it would be here at Skellig.
Oh, awesome.
And no, just a small plug for Skellig.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do feel like we Skellig, we're unique in that like the human aspect of the business hasn't been forgotten, showing that
Mhm.
it's possible to care deeply about like the work you do and how you can improve the world while also sustaining a business and treating people fairly. They're not mutually exclusive. So, does it let me affect change? Like, uh, not, it's getting there. But I
Yeah,
feel like I have the best chance for success, which, would be changing the world where I am
yeah.
at right now. So,
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. It is difficult though, but and in CGMP, it's difficult by design too. Around a lot of, you got to kind of prove it a lot.
yeah, exactly.
Before.
Yeah.
Um, but whereas in some other industries, like you can go ahead and make some code changes, see if that actually improves things, and
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot more onerous on our side of things. Our next question: if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the industry, what would you change?
um, I guess my answer for this one is kind of short and sweet. Honestly, I would just love there to be a greater incentive for companies to adopt more green ways of manufacturing. I know that's very vague. I don't think there needs to be a choice between producing safe and effective medicines while making a profit and while being more friendly to the earth. In a perfect world, and hopefully even in this imperfect world, all three of those things could be true
Yeah.
at the same time. So,
Awesome. No, I agree. And
That's
it's
what I would
like,
do with my wand.
awesome. No, that's very good because as engineers, I think it's like, what are the business goals and what are the challenges? And then that's the joy of engineering is figuring out how
Yeah.
to hit those seemingly impossible things. But like
Yeah.
Arthur C. Clarke said, like he was a futurist back in the day, but I think he has a line. I hope I don't mess it up now, but like, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. I have messed it up. But essentially
Oh,
what he
I
was trying to
know.
say was,
Yep.
yeah, you know the
Yep.
quote?
I know well, I don't know it confidently enough to state it right now, but I do know what you're talking about.
To me, I think I love the ESG thing you're trying to work towards.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great to see more. I'd love to see companies define it better around how they're honestly trying to go after, rather than just there's a lot of marketing talk and like, oh, well, we're zero this and zero emissions,
Yeah.
and but
I think it's like greenwashing. At least that's the
yeah,
term
that's what they call it. Yeah,
for
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And that kind of comes with the territory, as we said too, that sustainability and earth friendly it's trendy. It's a cool thing to do. So, companies,
Hmm.
of course, they're realizing, all right, this is kind of where the money is too. So we may as well
Yeah.
lead into that's what consumers are looking for.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
I love the attitude change. So, all
Do you
right.
have any? Do you have a question for me or anything that I can answer?
How do you personally stay informed about emerging technologies and trends in this life science industry? And how do you determine which ones are worth investing in? Because it can be risky.
The truth of it is just it's not a full blown obsession, but it's like it's definitely. I feel like um, part of my job is to try to detect what I think is going to keep Skellig relevant. Like,
Yeah.
how are we going to be relevant? And I see the industry trying to change with technology. Unified namespace is everywhere now. A couple of years ago, it wasn't. But what are the shortfalls from a technology standpoint?
Mm-hmm.
Around where we are now. I do have an advantage because I get to hear a lot sometimes. What are the customers saying about what they're looking for? What are they frustrated with?
Yeah.
So in that sense, that kind of presents this bellwether of, because you get to guide where do you go looking for a solution then based on
Mm-hmm.
what they think is relevant, but also, getting to think about it yourself. Is there a leap forward in progress possible? In general, where I'm getting my information from is, obviously I follow Walker Reynolds a lot. I'm following any of the 4.0 minded stuff. I won't say it's very readily available information,
Mm-hmm.
when looking at platforms, then I don't evaluate platforms myself at all. I'm not like an architect or anything like that. I'm much more of just a CEO doing management type stuff. Whereas, but I'm looking at people within Skellig that are looking at these platforms and putting them to work internally before they go to clients. And I'm leaning on their expertise to tell me what's relevant. What
Yeah.
are they seeing? How do they want to solve that problem? What technology is relevant for them? But the most important aspect of it is what have you seen? Not just believing the marketing of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I'm staying informed with it. But it's a very iterative process. But it's something that I feel like is very much part of my job to be aware of what's the best out there right now. How do we stay relevant, and what's the most helpful thing we could do with technology, and is there a solution inside
Mm-hmm.
that? Some of the new platforms in MES, it's great, it's very exciting. What's our role in that? How do we help these clients who are looking at this potentially more cost effective, faster time to value deployment, but
Mm-hmm.
how do you make it credible? How do you make sure you can validate it? How do you make sure you're able to follow Alcoa with it and get everything you need from it and it's meeting expectations? That's where I see our job, evaluating the technology, but also seeing understanding what the shortfall is and just encouraging everyone to tell the truth to each other about what's going on and how to mitigate the downside and benefit from the upside. So a very messy answer to a very simple question, but there you go. It is quite exciting to see a lot of the 4.0
Yeah.
developments right now, but the thing that I think is I won't say problematic, but it's so kind of fragmented right now. There are so many possible solutions. None of them are really coherent enough, pulling something all together where a client can just say, oh, I can just get this and it's better. What
Hmm.
clients are presented with is a digital transformation journey, and then they have to face down becoming an expert in choosing different technologies and building out a complete kind of technological picture. That's a much more daunting challenge than in the past. I'm just going to go to Rockwell, Emerson, Siemens. I'm going to cut them a big PO. They're going to give me a whole system, and I'll yell at them for the parts I hate, and I'll thank them for the parts I love, and I'll do the same thing the next time. And that'll be
Yeah.
our global standard. That's kind of changing, and that's kind of presenting new opportunities, I think. But to close those gaps between expectations and kind of what's out there.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, I love that answer.
okay. uh, it's very nice talking to you, Jenna. I guess we'll park it here. Thank you to everyone who watched. Lovely talking to you, and
Yeah,
thank you for doing
likewise.
this. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
no, this was great. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me.